Hey people, it cooled down and rained a couple days and ruined my blackberry crop, but the sun's shining bright today. But that's okay, 'cause I got my double bubble, double insulated tinfoil hat on. Guaranteed to keep all 5G signals out your brain. It's a good looking hat. It comes in one color, white on the inside and foil on the out. And it's excellent for the cold. It'll keep your head really, really warm. It's guaranteed to turn back 100% of UV rays. And it looks really stylish. You can wear that to the beach. You can wear it to church. So get yours here at the First Hill Con. And get 15% off with the code word. That's my first prototype hat. I was trying to figure out how big my head was. But I showed you a little bit about this before. And it comes from the tomb of TT-84. And it's written on the wall. And what it says is a gift of flowers, a bouquet. And then this is here. And they say this means it comes from the honky-tonk. The honky-tonk house. You can see the onk and the T here. Just like in the Hebrew, if there's a tag and you read something backwards, that's where you would get that, the honky-tonk. And house, this means in the place of house. And in the Greek it was replaced by a O-U-S. And it means whose, who it belongs to, or the house, the place of it. And so they say this honky-tonk means the temple of 1,000,000 years. So I've been a lifelong member of the Honky Tonk Church. It's where I go every Sunday. And Wikipedia, they kind of trying to screw up the interpretation. But Honky was, he was the ancient god of creation, the Sumerian tablets. And he's also the god of I am in the Hebrew Bible. You can see that here in Genesis 46:3. And he said, I am God. Anki, A-N-K-I. They'll change this A up. Sometimes they say it's O. Sometimes they say it's E. But it's Anki. Anki the All. E-A-L. I am the God. And so that actually reads backwards because it starts with an A. And so it's I can. As in, like, Obama was a honky. He says, yes, I can. But that means I can, or the icon. And only when it has something else after it, then it's read honky. H-A-N-K-I, E-A-N-K-I, the honky. So we try to play more rock and blues and boogie woogie at my temple. But you can see this house here, and it's even teeth of ivory, and that was King James did that. But you can see it's the odontus. To get your teeth straightened, you go see your orthodontist. Orthos to straight, like orthopedic straightens your bones, and orthodontist straightens the teeth. The elephant in house. The teeth of the elephant in house. The house to see use US. O to see US to see use. The elephant in use. So nowhere in here does this say ivory. And over here in the Hebrew, it doesn't say ivory. They got this twisted, and they twisted the Greek from that. But they're trying to say this is front, Q-R-U-N-T. And front is the word that they've given horns. Of the horns. This is just Q-R-N-T, front. But you have to watch this word closely, because it doesn't mean tusk. This is frown. Q-R-N-W-T-S-N, the frown what's in. And so a frown is, if you look at the moon tonight, we got a new moon. So as the sun goes down in the evening, it'll be smiling. But after the sun comes up, the moon comes up behind it, it's always pointing toward the sun, so it's going to be a frown, be lit up on the other side. And so you have the crown what's in and the frown what's in and the cusp. They say the cusp means silver, and it comes from these ancient jewelry markings, and this is a cusp. The definition of a cusp is the point where two arcs meet. And so you have two cusp here, and you have three cusp here. And this is the crown what's in. And so this is the crown what's in the sun, and this means a high grade of gold. To mark something is better than 80% silver, 800 parts per thousand, is going to have a cusp on it, a cusp in a crown. And so this isn't 85F, this is BSF. This is the maker's mark, the maker, and then the percentage of silver, 80% or better, will have the cusp and crown. In a high-grade gold is going to have the crown in the sun. With the crown, what's in is a high-grade gold. The sun is gold, and the moon is silver, and Venus is copper. And so everything, close to this, the QR, and they'll say it means horns. But it's the front. And it's because, the horns are on the front. That's why your horn sits on the front of your car. That's where your word front come from. The horns are on the front of the animal. And you can see what they're talking about here. The market and the traders. Bing, they changed this to men. Usually they say it means sons. And bing is the mark of time. Bing, the bell goes off in the trader's market. The bell rang, binged in, first click, and then backwards. My jar in is MYJARBIS. My jar in is shorthand give. Jar is ancient Teutonic for ready. Jar, ready. My ready in is shorthand give. The frown what's in. The frown, an elephant's tusk grows like a smile. It turns up. And only when he was dead would it be turned down like a frown. Frown what's in to who? Vav, evav. To who? Venus, VNIS. They don't never put the vowel points in the B on this one. I always look on the second one, but I read the first one. But it's still here. We Venus, VNIS. To who Venus the sieve to that brought you, the one who receives, the siever, SIV, the sieve to, the one receiving. Who Venus the sieve to cracks. And so who Venus deceived to is Venus's love. But Venus is also copper. And so the frown what's in who Venus, and that's would tell you a time. If you look at the moon, it looks like this. It's because it's pointing at the sun. This crown always points toward the sun. And so, in the evening, if the sun's going down, and you're looking at this, you're looking at a new moon. And in the morning, if the sun's coming up, you're looking in the east, and you're looking at this, you're looking at a waning moon. It's fixing to totally disappear. And so Venus will also, wear a crown like this, a frown. It'll point toward the sun. But if you go over here to the multi, at the Septuagint, they say this is 2,000 years old or old. They said that Alexander the Great had this. And you can see it says, the odontus, the teeth, the elephant in house. And you look at every one of these different English interpretations, and none of them is the ivory tusks. And so they're losing the poetry that's in here. Every one of these will say ivory tusk, and then by no means did it mean ivory tusk. It means the tooth of the elephant, maybe. And even the tooth of the elephant came from a bad interpretation from the Hebrew, meaning the crown what's in. But every one of them, they all come from this King James. It presents the horns of ivory and ebony. And ivory and ebony, ivory actually means round, The ebony keys are the flats and the sharps. And the ivory are the whole notes, Ivory and ebony. Flats, sharps, and holes. And so it's missing all its alchemical poetry. But yeah, all these translations will say tusk. And you'll have to go all the way down here to the Dutch before they start to get it. And you can see this is closer to the Greek, and the hand, and where the horn in Van Elephant Ben. And you can see it up again here in line 6, the houses. And it says how fold, O-I-K, how fold house. And so it doesn't mean house, but it means how it's made. Your temples they made from out of ivory, and houses of the woods. Sue the poison, the Poyhsan, the poison they created. And this is where your word poem and poetry and poet, that's that poi, that's the creator, is the poi. And they made, and this is all, everything was created from the word in the Hebrew Bible, in the Greek Bible, and also in the ancient Egyptian stories. Everything was created from the word. The poison EX, to come out of, to exit. The X, the elephant as how fold the house. And so this OUS, you'll see it on the back of a lot of words, and it's part of the alchemical poetry. And you can see it here in this line 24, bringing trade of blue and treasures choice, being bound in rough cords. And it's like rap, and the Saurus house. This THE, the Saurus is a place, if you're a rapper, you want a lot of words that rhyme with the oos and the toos and the dedum and noose. And this is all like rap. And so the Saurus is the place you find the words that have same meanings. And so you can find words to rhyme. And that's your treasures. If you're a creator, if you're a poet, your treasure is the Saurus. And then this choice, they're trying to say this is elect, but it's eclect to hoose. So the same as this EN, they say it means in here. And it'll be across from the B. If you look at the opposite in the Hebrew, it'll be just a B in front of this words. And it means in. Well, the same is, you'll see this EK. And it'll be sometimes it's just by itself, like the EN. And it'll be across from an L when a word starts with an L. And so instead of starting this word with two L's, it's EK. And it means of. L means of elect to use. To elect to use your choice. The Saurus use of elect to use. The dead men use. And so it's the same as in the Hebrew. It's poets, and they're trying to show off how they can use all these words and make them rhyme. And you'll see all through the Greek, all the way through, you're going to see words that all have the same ending following each other, because this is rap. So they totally got the meaning change here, because you see it doesn't say the tooth of the elephant here, and so they still saying the elephant means ivory, but it only meant ivory when it comes from the tooth of the elephant in house. And you can see that they give the EX the same meaning as the EK here, from out of. But this is L, and what it says is of this, THS, of this, of these insanity does. L, of these insanity does the potion task Koopas. This is TASK, hoop as. And so a Cooper is somebody who makes barrels. A cask or barrel maker. Coming from the old Dutch German Cooper or coop, a tub, a vat. And they say it comes from the Latin Cooper, but they got this backwards. Actually, the Latin come from the old German, old Teutonic. And it comes from, the guy who makes the hoops, the hoopers, so the task hooper, the Cooper. And that's why you see in the Hebrew they have planks in here. And so of these insanity does the potion task hoopers so too. The so too is the end of the line, unless to Jera so too. Jera means a year of good crops. Jera. A Jera is an old funk ruin. A year of good harvest. They cooking up the potions. In the year of good harvest, so too. It was a good year of harvest. The potion EX, it is. Its elephant as weak house also dies away. Opposing means away. Away no soon. Noah is just spelled NH. And it means to know, KNOW. Away no soon. Tone to fashion, to something fashionable, or to wear something, to attach something, to tone, to fashion, to chitum. And this is Greek word that's usually opposite the Hebrew shittim, which they say is the acacia. And that's what acacia is what they cook the DMT out of. Of this insanity does the potion task hoopers so too. They're kegging it up. To Jera, to a good year, so too. The potion, its elephant toes, weak houses also dies. And so also dies, the Catholic Church is the diocese, the die houses. And it's because that's how you buy acacia root. You buy it as red dye, purple dye, and everything that makes dyes, that was the 13th company, because that's turned into all your drug companies, was the dye houses. That's why the dyes were so restricted, because it wasn't the color, it was the drugs that was in it. All your dyes, all your good dyes make drugs. Also dies away, opposing, away from. Away no soon fashion the chitum, the red dye. Elephants are known for two things. One is their memory, and the other is being red. The elephant too's weak house also dies away no soon. The tone to fashion to wear the shittum, the red. But if you look at the way this starts here, this is always opposite of the wage in 2 in the beginning when it says, and God said, it's the wage in 2, and then there was. So the wage is, and there was. And so this key, is just the W or the V. And it means and to, or W-E-G-E. The wage in it too. What your job is. The wage in it to the logos. Logos aren't words. Logos are pictures that mean words. And so it's like these words, the way I read this. A picture that means a word. The logos, like the Egyptian writing was logos. The wage in it to logos carry you, pros me legion. And so if you have a legion, you're the commander of a legion. That means command. The pros me command. Pros, P-R-O-S, that means the best of them. The wage in it to logos. When it comes to the words, carry you. The pros I command of. And so this is called a lamentation against sore, and it's spelled with the XOR, and they'll try to say this didn't come from the X, but if you turn this letter the other way where it looks like an M, they will say that that's where the X come from. And you can see it here. This is the OX. Became like this and it disappears, they say. In the ancient Greek, it's turned into the X and it disappeared, and they said this was a different letter that turned into the X. And they say this was the shin, the S. But you can see in the Greek, where the Hebrew had a single letter, meaning had logos, the Greek would have to make a 2 or 3 letter word in order to interpret that, because they were working by sound, audio, instead of the visual pictures. But if you look over here in the Hebrew, you see a different spelling for this sore here. And now it's tire. And it's spelled the XR. And so this is wage, and it's W-Y-E-J. And so W-Y means how. And E-Y or E-J means they. And it means wage. It means you can ride the boat, how they get by. How are you going to get by? You're going to have a job. You're going to have a wage. And so sometimes it's just read wage, and sometimes it's read how they'd ever. How they would ever. And then backwards and forwards after this tack. To have you. E-V-E-Y-E-W-E. How they'd ever have you ill a la more. L'amour is to exasperate it. Tell me more about it. And to have you ill a la, A-L-A is where the God comes from. You see, often they'll have words that just say A-L or L-A is God. It's because they're adding the A in the word before it. Every time it starts with the A, it reads backwards. And so it's I-L-A-L-A, ill all the more. And then what? W-A-T, what? Even, E-V-N, W-A-T-E-V-N. What even made ads? So all, and then this tack here is backwards and forwards. So all RX, Rex. So all drugs refine. What even made ads? So all drugs refine. And that's what it's about. There's no tie, or you'll see the same word. Sometimes they'll say it means Egypt. The same word they say is tires, Egypt sometime. Then they'll change the spelling over here. Now they give it a of tire, and it's an XUR. So I had bleeped out a word at the beginning of this, and there was a method. I was meaning to get to it, and this just got too long. So I'm going to make this in two parts. But that word is actually the Hebrew word, and you hear it a lot in rap music today, and people don't really know what it means. But you would have heard that word from the priest at the Church of a Million Years. And it's actually the Hebrew word for the Egyptian god of creation. And I know it, and I can prove it with this picture here. And I'm going to line it all up against Joshua here. And you're going to find all these words. And when it's talking about the borders here, the borders of Judah, and you see several words for Judah here, and most of them have the NGB in common. The Jeb is all these words for border have the GB, GBUL, border, the southern NGB, the south word NGBE, and the southern side MNGB. The Jeb has everything to do with the border. Negev is actually the same word as this, from Negev. MNGB, the same word. And so border didn't fit here, so they added this word in here. But you can see it's the same number, 5045. The same word is to the southern side is from Negev. But you see a whole bunch of words in here that will show you that that's what it's talking about. You know, even of the coast, the border ended of the coast. You see the GB isn't in here, but it's the tax out. The border ended, it taxed out, TXAUT, of the Geval, the GB, Jeb. I'm going to make this two-part because I'm going to show you all about this ancient Egyptian creation myth and how it connects with Joshua 15 and the origin of the word motherfucker. Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.